And so how do you deal with the weaponization of AI? You can't do it manually. So in my opinion, whether you like AI or don't like AI, you have to use AI to defend yourself. And what Bell Cyber has done so successfully, building on our SIM in the cloud, building on our cybersecurity mesh architecture, we have enabled AI in our ecosystem, and we have created the Autonomous Security Operations Center.
Welcome to Inside the Mesh. I'm Diego Ramirez, and today I have the pleasure to introduce you to John Meneses, a visionary, an IT security leader, and the president and CEO of Bell Cyber. Welcome to the show, John.
Thanks very much, Diego, and I'm surprised you waited so long to invite me.
John, you're a very busy CEO nowadays. Now after the acquisition of Bell Cyber, so it took us a little while. Thank you for being in here.
It's a pleasure, Diego. Thank you.
John, first of all, we would like to know a little bit about your journey in cybersecurity. How did you get started, and how has your career evolved from managing and configuring network devices to leading the most complete and successful MSSP in Canada?
It's been a fun journey, actually, and it wasn't always called cybersecurity. When we were building the internet in the early 90s, long before you were born, Diego, we were just configuring people to connect to the internet, and I think I sold my first firewall in 92 or 93, and at that time we just wanted to secure companies' access to the internet. So we sell firewalls, and customers would say to us, "I don't need a firewall because I don't allow my people to connect to the internet." And it's so funny because these days when we are talking about AI, I'm getting the same responses from customers and enterprises and saying, you know what, we don't want our users to connect to the internet, and we don't want the users to to connect AI and use AI. So it's almost like I've come full circle from the original journey of just selling firewalls to now talking about AI and the autonomous SOC.
Okay, so that basically means that there were lots of concerns back in the day when you were introducing the first level of security in this industry. Nowadays, we're facing something similar with AI. So I'm glad we're going to touch base on these concepts during today's interview. John, when you founded Strategem, now Bell Cyber, many people thought that it was a bold or even risky idea to offer a fully cloud-hosted cybersecurity service. Clearly, it was a well-informed and a long-term strategy shaped by your experience with on-premise solutions and the state of cybersecurity and technology back in 2015. Can you walk us through that vision?
It's been an absolutely fun journey because when I had the first MSSP in Canada, when we started the first MSSP in Canada in 2000, it was a very traditional approach. So you'd sell a customer a firewall and you manage it. You sell a customer a SIM and you'll manage it, and that worked well in the early days. But when I started to look at what does the future of cybersecurity look like, I thought one of the most important things was we need to have integration, and we need to get rid of these silos. And so I said, you know what, I'm going to take a SIM. So we had the first multi-tenanted SIM in place in 2015. And now when you look at what Microsoft is doing with Azure Sentinel, it's a multi-tenanted SIM. But it's come 5 or 10 years after we did our first multi-tenanted SIM. And the reason we did the multi-tenanted SIM is because what I was saying to customers is that you can't look at every SIM in isolation. Most customers, the rules, the alerting, the devices that are ingesting logs are all the same. So why do we need to repeat the same work for 20 customers or 30 customers or 40 customers? So I decided to take the SIM, put it in the cloud. And in 2015, the cloud was a bad word. Nobody wanted to go to the cloud. The cloud was insecure. The cloud was too expensive. And I thought, you know what? I've been in security now at that time, in 2015 for almost 20 years. And I said, you know what? I know this is a problem. and this problem is going to haunt customers forever. So I just pursued it. I just continued it, and I think what is now the cybersecurity mesh architecture is based on the fact that we had the SIEM in the cloud, and the fact that we have an ASOC today is based on the fact that we had a SIEM in the cloud, we had a cybersecurity mesh architecture that now enables us to do an ASOC. So either I'm crazy or I'm lucky, but that's what has brought us here today.
You were always a visionary, John, because as of today, all MSSPs and all cybersecurity practices have to adopt similar strategies, right? It's not an option anymore. They need to integrate, they need to contain threats, they need to make sure that there is an analysis that, luckily for us, it's being done by some of our AI features and AI strategies. And they need to keep putting guardrails, and they need to keep putting security controls in place just to make sure that the threats are no longer giving them headaches, right?
Absolutely.
Now that we started talking about the cybersecurity mesh architecture, in the early days of Bell Cyber, you developed the concept of it, even before Gartner came up with the name. How did that idea originate, John? And when did you begin to see its real value after the implementation?
It's so funny. We had created the multi-tenant SIEM and we put it in the cloud. And I was at an RSA conference having dinner with my colleagues and friends, and we had a supplier out there talking about threat intelligence. And you talk about indications of compromise and indicators of attacks and stuff like that. And I said to him, what is this threat intelligence? And he said, John, you got to know this threat. This is the best thing that's going around these days. And I had no clue what threat intelligence was. And I said, so how do I get this threat intelligence into my SIEM? And he said, we'll have an API integration, and it's very easy. It works very simply. So I came back and talked to Javed, who's our CTO, and said, Javed, I want to integrate this threat intelligence into our SIEM. And he said, okay, let's do it. So we integrated the threat intelligence feeds into our SIEM, and you know what happened? The whole SIEM crashed, and we couldn't understand why. Because when we ingested the IOCs into the SIEM, we ingested 20 million IOCs, and the whole thing crashed. And so we said, oh God, now what do we do? So then we realized that every indication of compromise is not a valid indicator of compromise. So we needed to figure out which indicators of compromise are valid to us, and so we used this system in place that we were only going to focus on indicators of compromise that had a confidence level of 95 or higher and were high severity. And so then from these millions of indicators of compromise, we found we needed 10,000 or 12,000. So then we reframed the API integration, and we got the indicators of compromise. So that was the first integration that we had in the SIEM was IOCs and threat intelligence. And then we started talking about vulnerability management. And so we were working with Qualys, and Qualys had an API. And so we took the Qualys and we brought it into our ecosystem. And so now we had two integrations. And then from there we went to network detection and response with SciGlass, and we got our third integration. And so slowly we were building this completely integrated solution. Because with me, I don't want any silos. If people talk about silos, it drives me crazy. And we got that. And then we started to add Azure. We started to add different tools. We started to add privilege access management, and we started to build this whole ecosystem. And it wasn't until 2021 that Microsoft came out with, Gartner came out with this cybersecurity mesh architecture. That was like 6 years after I had already started to integrate all these tools. And I said, you know what? If Gartner's calling it a cybersecurity mesh architecture, we will call it a cybersecurity mesh architecture. And when I met the Gartner analyst who came up with this term, he said, John, you are delivering cybersecurity mesh architecture as a service. This is what you're doing. So it's been really fun. But sometimes if you think that we had a grand vision to build the cybersecurity mesh architecture. That's not the case at all. It's just understanding what problems are we trying to solve, and then integrating the tools that we need to solve the problem. So it's been fascinating. It's been a fascinating journey.
Thank you for the answer, John. What stands out to me is the fact that the very first integration that you and Javed thought of was related to threat intelligence. Basically, you thought that you needed to correlate the logs that were coming from our client environments and with the logs that were coming from RSS feeds and from these IOCs and IOAs out in the wild, in order to start the very first steps of an investigation, for example, in order to start analyzing data and basically make it a lot easier, not only for analysts but also for clients to understand what was going on in their environments without compromising anything else.
That's exactly right. It's about making cybersecurity easy for Bell Cyber, for our analysts, but most importantly for our customers. It is a complex business. Cybersecurity is complex and it's complicated. And I think everything we have done is to make it easy for our customers to consume and for our customers to understand, the challenges they're facing and how Bell Cyber can help them.
Let's talk about AI now. From your point of view, John, how has artificial intelligence shaped cybersecurity over the past 3 years, and how is Bell Cyber adapting to this technology evolution?
That's a great question. Everybody wants to talk about AI. I don't think AI is reshaping cybersecurity. I think AI has turned cybersecurity on its head. It is the most transformative technology that has come out that forces everybody to rethink how you do cybersecurity there. I believe strongly that in the next 3 years, we will see more change in cybersecurity than we have seen in the previous 30. And if Bell Cyber does not adopt AI as the principal way of doing business, there will be no Bell Cyber in the next 3 years. And what we have done at Bell Cyber, we have become an AI first company. We have become AI first company because we have to lead by example. And AI is not, AI is frightening to most people. And it is even more frightening to cybersecurity people. Because AI in the hands of hackers can cause a lot of grief. And so what we have seen with the release of the Mythos and Anthropic's announcement a few weeks back, talking about how their LLM can not only discover vulnerabilities, but can create exploits for those vulnerabilities, and it can be done all in literally in seconds. This is what I call the weaponization of LLMs, the weaponization of AI. And so how do you deal with the weaponization of AI? You can't do it manually. So in my opinion, whether you like AI or don't like AI, you have to use AI to defend yourself. And what Bell Cyber has done so successfully, building on our SIEM in the cloud, building on our cybersecurity mesh architecture, we have enabled AI in our ecosystem, and we have created the Autonomous Security Operations Center, an ASOC that can run from start to finish without human intervention. And I think what we have done for the last 2 years, building on our knowledge, building on our expertise, building on our experience, I believe that we have created what is the most sophisticated instance of LLMs in the country.
I agree, John. It's important to note as well that even though AI has been around for many years already, it was only until maybe 4 years ago that we started seeing the evolution of it, right? And just within 3 years, it changed everything for all of us, for our clients, for MSSPs, for security operations analysts, and even for hackers, right? The hackers became a lot more lazy, and that's because they do have the ability to simply provide AI with the strategy that they would like to use towards breaching a system or a company, and then AI is helping them shape that strategy. It's helping them come up with the code. It's helping them succeed at light speed. So I agree with you, John. We need to be as technical as them, and we need to also adopt these technologies. And from my point of view, if a company is not willing to adopt AI, that company is gonna be in serious troubles in the next 2 years at least.
I don't think enterprises have a choice anymore about whether they're going to use AI in their defense or not. I think that ship has sailed. Any enterprise that does not use AI to defend themselves, any enterprise that does not have a roadmap to get to the ASOC sooner rather than later, I believe are in big trouble. And I think our history and the trend and what you're seeing with both with Anthropic and with OpenAI and what they are doing and the capabilities of the LLM, you are dreaming in Technicolor if you think you can continue running your SOC the way you did 5 years ago. And I don't care if you're the largest enterprise in this country or the smallest enterprise in this country. You have to use AI, and Bell Cyber is the only company that has a working model for an ASOC in the country. I think what we have done, and it's, we are cybersecurity experts. We are domain experts. And what we have learned and we have done so well is that we have taken AI and we have made our cybersecurity more secure, better responsive, detect threats quicker, take action. Even our 5-minute time to containment, which is a concept that we introduced 3 years ago. 5-minute time to containment. So we are not an MSSP that sends an alert to the customer and says, hey, you know what, we've seen something bad happening, now you go figure it out. No, we are doing the figuring out for you, and we are taking action on your behalf. We are containing the threat. I always say to customers, let us stop the bleeding. Let us stop the bleeding, and then we'll do the investigation. Okay, so I think what we are doing is leading edge. Sometimes I think it's bleeding edge, and I know sometimes customers are reluctant. They're risk averse. But I think what AI is doing, it is forcing customers who are reluctant, it is forcing enterprises who are risk averse to say, you know what, without AI, we cannot defend ourselves.
Correct. So our advice is always implementing AI, but responsibly.
Absolutely. It is a responsible use of AI. Responsible use of AI. But we are domain experts. So cybersecurity, I've been in cybersecurity over 30 years. Okay. I believe I know a whole bunch about cybersecurity, and I know that we can use AI responsibly to deliver outcomes that our customers need and want.
So I'm glad you have introduced the concept of the autonomous SOC. We would like to know, John, what does the autonomous SOC mean to you personally, and how is Bell Cyber delivering on its promise of a 5-minute to containment window for clients?
The autonomous SOC to me is the next level of cybersecurity. Okay, it means that for somebody who's been doing a SOC for 30 years, I've seen the problems that we've had. We have analysts who are getting thousands of alerts coming at them. They're fatigued. They're looking at alerts. It's boring. Okay, we have customers who are also receiving lots of alerts that they have to go and triage, and then it takes them another few hours or days to actually do the containment. So the autonomous SOC to me is solving all these problems that we have had in our business for 30 years. If you have been in the SOC business for any length of time, you know that what I'm talking about is exactly the problems you have. So how does a large enterprise solve the problem? They have too many alerts, so what do? They go out and hire more people. And what happens? The folks leave. Why do they leave? They leave because they're bored out of their minds dealing with useless alerts coming at them all the time. The autonomous SOC, what we've done is we've taken this meaningless work that analysts were doing every day, and we've now allowed them to become trusted advisors. We are changing the role of the cybersecurity analyst working in the SOC. You know that at the Bell Cyber SOC, we haven't had a resignation in 3 years. Why is that? Because we are making the job more interesting. we're really helping the analysts add value to cybersecurity incidents. So the ASOC is just solving a problem that's been the bane of my existence for 30 years. I'm so happy with ASOC. I told my cybersecurity analyst a year ago that their job, the way they're doing it, was going to be obsolete in a year. And we are right on that path. The job that the analyst is doing, I don't need analysts looking at an incident and triaging an incident. I can do it faster, I can do it better, I can do it more efficiently, and I can save time and I can save money. Okay, so I don't need that. So that's my view of the ASOC. And now the question becomes is, how can we take this ASOC and deliver great value for our customers? Maybe reduce bend the cost curve on cybersecurity. As a CEO of Bell Cyber, I want to continue growing my revenues, but I think we can grow revenues, but deliver more efficient services for customers, and I think that's the value of the ASOC. So to me, personally, it has solved a problem that's been going on for forever.
And in addition to that, John, people need to remember that there's a lot of great minds in this industry. There's a lot of great analysts that have innovative ideas and strategies, and what we are using the autonomous SOC for, in a way, it's to make sure that they don't get busy with tier 1 and tier 2 tasks, like just looking at an IP and blocking it at the firewall level, or revoking a user sessions. And then we don't want them to spend all the time during the day just looking at that or doing that. We want to enable them to come up with those ideas, with those strategies, with new ways to basically adopt technology, enable technology to do great things. Not just looking at a screen and then clicking here, next, but also helping with the automation as well, helping their clients to overcome their challenges, and even helping ourselves as a company to continue innovating.
Absolutely. Our analysts should be thinking. I want them to use their power to think, to figure out what use cases can we come up with, what's the next thing that the hackers are going to come out, what new challenges are we going to face, and how do we use the tools. I see AI as a tool. I see AI as an amazing tool, but at the end of the day, it's a tool. And if you don't use it properly, you'll get the same results, when I started my computing career in 1979, we used to have a thing called garbage in, garbage out. The same thing applies to AI. AI makes dumb people dumber, but AI makes smart people a lot smarter.
John, what makes Bell Cyber's approach to AI and ASOC different from everyone else claiming the same thing in this industry?
Everybody claims to be using AI. Everybody claims to be a great MSSP. What Bell Cyber brings to the table is 30 years of experience. We are not just talking about things. We are doing things. Okay? And we are doing things because 10 years ago, we put a SIM on the cloud. 10 years ago, we created a cybersecurity mesh architecture. There's not a single MSSP in the country that has a cybersecurity mesh architecture. So anybody who talks about a cybersecurity mesh architecture is talking vaporware. Even if you went to build an ASOC, you go out and, CrowdStrike came out with an agentic AI agent. Palo Alto came out with some fancy AI agents. Google has got SecOps Plus. But these are all tools. You have to go buy this tool and then implement it in your environment and figure out how to make all these things work together. What Bell Cyber has done is we have built it. It is functioning. It is functioning as an ASOC. It is doing things for you. You don't have to buy an agent and then train it. This is not Copilot that, it's a great tool, but you have to still give it the prompt. What Bell Cyber has done is that we have given all these prompts. We have built it so we know how to handle a ransomware attack. We know how to handle a denial of service attack. We know how to contain traffic. We know how to contain threats. It's a practical system. It's being used. We've had it in production now for 9 months. You've seen these videos that we're doing of customer testimonials about how the ASOC is helping them. We have the only functional ASOC in North America. Okay, I know it's a bold statement to make, but show me anybody else. You have the consulting companies, you have the telcos. Everybody wants to do what we have done, but don't know how to do it. They don't know where to start. So you'll see people making announcements with, I'm now working with Google to build this, or I'm working with CrowdStrike to build this, or I'm working with Zscaler to build this. Bell Cyber, we built it. We're using it. We're the first and most efficient at doing this. And I am so confident that our journey that started 10 years ago or 11 years ago is what has enabled us. Had we not done what I did in 2015, we would not be able to do what we're doing in 2026. It's not like AI. It's not like we pressed a button and suddenly we've got this ASOC. We've been working at it. We are cybersecurity experts. These are domain experts. This is what we've been doing for the last 11 years. AI is a tool that is fit into our ecosystem, our cybersecurity mesh architecture, that is delivering amazing value to our customers. Amazing value to our customers. Amazing value to our parent, Bell Canada. It's amazing value. But it all starts from what we started in 2015. We put a SIEM in a cloud, which at that time people thought that John Menezes was a crazy person. Okay? That is what has helped us come to where we are today. So if you don't know that story, so to me, all my competitors have to spend another 5 years figuring out what we have figured out already.
So it's important to recognize, John, that what you and our CTO Javed worked on first was basically harnessing all these features from all these amazing technologies, Microsoft, Palo Alto, Checkpoint Technologies, and anyone that it's cutting edge technology in this industry, towards creating a system, a process, and a strategy that makes sense, right? And that's what the autonomous SOC is in a nutshell, right? Yes, it's a tool, but it's also a strategy to overcome these challenges, and at the end of the day, to contain threats within 5 minutes and to kill the risk. That's what we want for our clients.
You know what, Diego? Everybody's talking about a platform. Okay, so you talk about platform. You talk about Palo Alto as their platform, Microsoft has their platform, CrowdStrike has their platform, Cisco has their platform. I think that we built a platform. It was called a cybersecurity mesh architecture 10 years ago. So I'm ahead of everybody. And guess what? Working with Bell Cyber, you don't get locked into one particular platform. I don't believe that any enterprise today is going to choose a platform and then use only that technology for the rest of their lives. It will never work. The platform will never work. You need what we have, which is basically a best of breed platform. Okay, I know people say, we need a platform, and I've been doing this for 30 years. People have been trying to do this platform. Just imagine if you get a platform and then tomorrow the platform owner says, I've now increased my rates by 40%. Or I've decided to increase my rates by 100%. Can you imagine the risks that you have with vendor lock-in by going with one platform? So I don't understand how people can go about talking about, we're going to go with the platform. When we started networking, people say, I'm a Cisco shop, or I'm a Juniper shop. You don't hear people saying that anymore, because you just cannot do that. And I think my cybersecurity mesh architecture is a perfect platform. It's an integrated solution that delivers on what everybody's looking for, which is a solution that can contain incidents in less than 5 minutes. That's what they want, and that's what we're delivering.
See, John, I remember a conversation that I had last night in a networking event in the context of cybersecurity, And one of these young professionals approached to me, and he asked me a question that was very much related to your answer. And he asked me, what SIEM technology do I need to use? What SIEM technology does Bell Cyber uses, right? What vendor does Bell Cyber use? And my answer to him was that pretty much it's not about the SIEM technology. It's not about the vendor that we are using. We can use any vendors, right? We consider ourselves vendor agnostic. And that's because I'm not there to teach analysts one or the other SIEM technologies, right? We're making sure that they understand the concept of these technologies, that they understand the outcomes, the expected outcomes from an endpoint detection and response tool, from a threat intelligence platform, from a vulnerability management tool, and they work towards providing an outcome to our clients in collaboration with the autonomous SOC operations, right, as a tool as well. So it's important to recognize that in this industry, it's no longer a matter of what vendor you're using, right? Yes, vendors are definitely very important, but it's enough to, or for us, we understand that we need to work with cutting edge technologies. That's a basic thing. That's a basic foundation of our practice. It's about how you operate with these tools without losing your mind.
Absolutely. It's not about the tools. I love the tools. Okay, so my partner friends CrowdStrike and Palo and Fortinet and Okta, great friends of mine, great technologies. I have nothing but the best to say about them. But what we are doing at Bell Cyber is we are helping customers who have made investments in these fantastic tools. They're fantastic tools. But what we have done is we are delivering the outcomes that the customers need when they buy these fantastic tools. And that's what Bell Cyber's our cybersecurity mesh architecture is enabling these tools to deliver the value that they want. So when you buy the tools, the customer is looking to get the value, and what we are delivering is that value. And I know when I talk about being vendor agnostic, my friends at the vendor partners will get all upset with me. But it's not my place to tell a customer, whether they want to buy Fortinet or whether they want to buy Palo or whether they want to buy Checkpoint or whether they want to buy Cisco. I like them. You buy whatever tool you like. But you come to Bell Cyber as your managed service provider because we will work magic with those tools. We will deliver more value from those tools than even the manufacturer can deliver for you, because we will integrate those tools into your ecosystem. We will integrate that with your Microsoft O365. We will integrate that with your Microsoft Entra. We will integrate that with your Okta. We will integrate all these tools so they work as one cooperative ecosystem. And that is what the value of the mesh is, a cooperative ecosystem. So now just think about it. We are building, our ASOC 2.0, which is an agent mesh. So we're now taking our cybersecurity mesh architecture and now building an agentic mesh architecture. So in a couple of months, you're going to hear Bell Cyber talk about autonomous SOC 2.0, which is even more sophisticated. So while my competitors are looking at my taillights, we are racing along. And we are using AI so intelligently, so responsibly, that I believe that in 6 months from now, what we are doing today will look like child's play.
As you continue to build and scale Bell Cyber, what continues to drive you forward, John?
Diego, I am having the best time of my life. I am so excited about what we are doing at Bell Cyber. And what's really amazing is that for the first time in my life, I'm actually afraid of because I'm running a managed security services provider. We have 800 customers located all over the world. And I'm always afraid as to what impact AI and the hackers using AI is going to have on our customers. So that's the first thing. Everything is changing. The second thing is I'm now part of Bell Canada, We are the largest telco in the country. Did you know that 60% of all the digital traffic in the country runs on Bell's network? And that's now part of my responsibility. How do I help Bell? How do I help keep Bell Canada secure? And everything is changing so fast. So when people say, what's your plan for the next 3 years and what's the plan for the next 5 years, I say to them, in the world of AI, I need to have a plan for the next 3 months. It's not 3 years and 5 years. That's crazy. But I think that everything that we have built over the last 11 years has prepared us for this moment. I think Bell Cyber is more prepared to meet this moment of AI and cyber than any other company in this country. I think what we are doing is fascinating, and I am super excited. I'm like a child in a candy store. I'm super excited on what the future holds for us, and I hope that everybody working at Bell Cyber, everybody working at Bell Canada, is equally excited as to what the future holds for us.
John, a couple of rapid fire questions to wrap up this episode. Can you name 3 major achievements for Bell Cyber ever since 2015?
Yeah, sure. First one, we were the first company to put a multi-tenant SIM in the cloud. We were the first ones to create a cybersecurity mesh architecture. And we were the first ones to create an autonomous SOC.
John, how do you stay up to date? How do you stay current in cybersecurity, considering that this industry evolves almost every day?
I watch a lot of TV. I watch a lot of Netflix, and I watch a lot of Prime. No, I'm just kidding. I read a lot. My habit is to read at least an hour and a half every day. I think that has kept me up to date, and I always want to make sure that whenever I go to a customer and I'm doing a presentation and the customer asks me about something, that I know more about the topic than they do.
I agree with you, John. John, finally, what makes you the proudest of the team that you're coaching and running at Bell Cyber?
The proudest I feel about Bell Cyber is my entire management team has been with me for 10 years. And if you know, working for me, it's not easy. I demand 724 access. I send an email, I want an answer yesterday. And the fact that all these men and women have chosen to stay with me and build with me and create something from nothing gives me great pride. I'm so proud of the team. I know a lot of times people look at me as some visionary. I think the vision is that to build a great team, treat them well, and you can do great things.
I like the fact that you talk about the top-down approach, John, because that basically means that you spent the right time coaching your senior leaders in order for them to basically coach each one of the analysts and team leads and security specialists and architects of the company towards following the same goal, towards achieving the same types of goals in the industry, right? Helping our clients with their cybersecurity needs. And this is what Bell Cyber does. In a nutshell, we're protecting our clients and we're protecting them with the usage of AI tools, with the adoption of AI tools, and with the automated blocking of all the threats to prevent any risks on their organizations.
No, it's fantastic. Being a leader means that somebody is following you, right? Otherwise, you're not a leader. I just have a lot of fun, and I hope my whole team, whether you're the newest cybersecurity analyst or whether you're the CTO, that you see that we have fun doing what we're doing. We're in a crazy world, crazy business. Cybersecurity and the intersection of cybersecurity and AI is changing. So I think you got to have some fun, and I hope my team has fun. We work really hard, and we work 7/24. So it's a fun business. Thanks very much, Diego.
Thank you, John, for being with us in this episode.
You're most welcome. I've had a lot of fun. Thank you. Bye now.
Thank you, everyone, and I hope to see you next time in Inside the Mesh.